if I'm a homeowner and I just type in how much does kitchen remodels cost, and I'm getting all right. Are you ready, Todd? Ready to do this?
Yes.
Hey.
As long as you have no follow-up questions, I'm ready.
Uh-huh.
Ready.
Good.
Yes, ready.
Nice to see you again there, sir. I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Living the life, buddy. We are living life.
Yes, we are.
All smiles, rainbows, jelly beans, Skittles.
Nice.
What?
Nice.
How you been? What's going on? What's new?
I've been pretty good.
How's Todd feeling?
Finishing. I'm in good. I'm in a good spot.
Yeah.
I got to wrap up a bunch of little loose ends, having gotten rid of my guys. So just I kind of took some time to give myself a nice kind of, let's say, Todd friendly schedule. So I wasn't stacking
I like
things.
that.
Yeah, I wasn't stacking things on top of each other, and just figured. And I let everybody know, I let my guys go. That led to some good conversations, some interesting conversations, just with whoever, colleagues, clients, whatever. But so I've just kind of been taking the time to just finish up some loose ends on some projects, so I can kind of go full bore the way I want to do this. So yeah, so it's been good. Finished a little wet bar area, finished turning a powder room into a bathroom, put all the finishing touches on that. Set of built-ins in a living room and new fireplace around. Just got all that wrapped up. So yeah, so I'm in a good spot. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like how you said a Todd friendly schedule. So
yes, it's not about that.
I always try to explain to trade partners and anybody who will listen about my schedule and how I schedule things, and it's how stress-free it usually is, or at least as stress-free as I can make it. And it doesn't seem like it sinks in with my trade partners very often. They always seem to think that they need to stay busy by overbooking themselves, almost, is what it seems like, where you're putting things on top of each other. You're trying to start one thing before the other thing is finished, and never giving yourself any any space in between for things to go wrong. Because we all know they do, but yet nobody is willing to put that in the schedule. I think everyone's a little bit too optimistic. And I would like to say that I'm more of a realist, not a pessimist. I think realist is a good way. I really, truly want to think in reality. Here's today, and I know things go wrong. So let's just plan for them to go wrong, because I know they will. I won't know what will go wrong, but I know something will go wrong. So let me plan for that. And it's never failed me yet. My schedules have been very good, if I do say so myself.
You are
and
in
so
the
do my
minority.
customers. Yeah. Todd, however, I know I'm proud because I know you are the forever optimist, and you generally never give yourself enough time. And you think things will always go faster than they actually do.
Why would something ever go wrong on a remodeling project? If I open up walls from a house built in 1912, why would everything not be built up to code and done properly, and I wouldn't have to redo anything? Why would there be any issues? I don't understand. Why would every cabinet and every cabinet door and drawer and everything not come pristine? Exact dimensions, exact everything, no nicks, scratches, scrapes, dents, stings. Why would that not happen every time flawlessly? Why?
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. My week is going good. We started countertops last week, and it's a complicated cabinets, countertops, and then the cabinet guy has to come back, and then the countertop has to come back, and then the cabinet guy has to come back, and then the countertop. It's a 3 back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we were in the second part right now, where the first part, cabinet guy came in, put his bases in, countertop are in. Now the cabinet guy came back, put the uppers up, and now we're installing the backsplashes and some of the other things around there. And It's going pretty good. They did a really, really good job installing the backsplashes. They actually did that this morning. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome. They did a really good job. Here we are putting in the actual backsplash behind the range. So the hole that you see in the middle is for the pot filler. Marble everywhere on this project. And we had another piece of countertop going into the pantry area. I got a picture of that too. I could show you guys that. This all happened this morning. So some of these, obviously this picture is not completely done. We still need to do the caulking and all that fun stuff, obviously, but that's the pantry area underneath the steps. We're trying to utilize every inch of this house as we can. So it's going good. So that's what we are doing right now. Good. Exciting. Remember we talked about on this show happiness chart a lot? Well, we're getting close to the end of the project and the homeowner has told me that my happiness chart is correct. They're like, it is spot on. Thank you for sharing. And I was like, great, that's good feedback. However, we are currently at the end of I want you out of my house and I'm done. Like project, we need to get this project done. That's where they're at. And every customer has gotten to that point, right? Every project, the happiness chart starts really, really aggressive. They're happy, dip down around drywall time, and then it scales back up. They get all happy because things are being put back together. But we're at the end, and at the end of the happiness chart, we go up and then we kind of plateau, and that's where that customer really is done. Like they just want to start using it. They start seeing it in real life. They start envisioning all of their things in the drawers and stuff, and they're excited and they want to use it, and they are done with living under construction. That is where we are at, and we have about a month left. So, yeah, we worked on that conversation today or a couple days ago, and we're struggling. We're getting through. But it's like that on every project with every client, no matter how long the project takes. Yep. If it's a long project, it's usually a month or two right before the end. If it's a short project, then it's the week or 2 weeks before, I don't know how you feel the same way. Like, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Happiness chart.
I don't give anyone a happiness chart. I just tell people that if I'm doing a kitchen remodel, I say by week 3, you're not going to like me as much as you do right now. And it's not because I'm doing anything wrong. You're just not going to like me as much because you just want us out of your house. You're sick of the noise every day. You're sick of the dust. You're sick of whatever else, even though we minimize the dust. Of course, we've had this conversation umpteen times, but the reality is it's a pain in the ass. If you don't have a kitchen for 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it gets old fast.
It does. It surely does.
Microwaves and eating out regularly are not. It gets old quick, unless you already have that lifestyle. Does. If you come across a rare client that has that lifestyle already, they're fine with it. But that's a rare client.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't have that.
But more importantly,
lifestyle.
Yeah. More importantly, like you said, they're happy with everything. Your chart was spot on, so that's always, like you said, that's good feedback. It's good to know that you're tracking this well, and I know that's a bigger project too. So to have that be on schedule and have their emotions coincide with where that project is certainly a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we go again. Another week of the Renovation Situation podcast where we pull back the layers of this complex remodeling industry. So grab your beverage of choice and let's get in it. What are we doing today, Todd? What's our topic today? What are we doing?
Talking about.
What are we after?
What are we talking about? Pricing of kitchen remodels? Prices of kitchen remodels?
Ooh. That's going to be a controversial one. Let's do this.
Few $100.
How much? Boom, done. There you go.
That's
Drop
it.
the mic.
That's
Let's
it.
go. All right.
Cash. $500 cash.
Get
it done.
Grab a bear. We're done. All right. Todd laid it down. How much does kitchens cost? How much does a kitchen remodel cost?
AI, when I ask Google how much, According to my
Yeah.
Google, it's
Let's
between
do this.
$5,000 and $80,000. And I can tell you the
What?
last kitchen remodel I did was much more than $80,000. So
How are
I
you
don't
going
know.
to get a kitchen remodel
was-
for 5,000? Okay, so you're in Chicagoland area and you Googled AI. You just went into Google, right? Because Google has AI answer for everything now, right? As
Right.
we're living in this new world.
Yep.
And what did you exactly type in?
Is the cost of it. Hold on. I'll tell you exactly what I typed.
Yeah, let's just be specific.
Okay, so if I type in, sorry, that was actually something. If I type in how much is a kitchen remodel, around $10,000 for a minor update to over $80,000 for a full gut remodel, with the average falling in the $27,000 to $70,000 range. And then it goes on for breakdown of costs, scope of the remodel, materials and choices. Yeah.
But okay, so yours says $80,000, and that's at the high end, your upscale remodel or your high end remodel?
To over $80,000 for a full
To over 80.
remodel.
All right. Okay. So I'm in Seattle land area and I typed in how much does a kitchen remodel cost into my Google, and I get a typical kitchen remodel can cost anywhere from 15,000 for a small refresh to over 160 for a high-end renovation. That's what mine says.
Okay.
But the national average for mid-range model is 80,000.
Okay.
And an upscale remodel is around 158. That's what my Google is saying.
All right.
And we're going to get into these differences a little bit because that's a big difference. 160 to 80, like that's double from your answer to my answer. And I think what's really important and why we Googled this and wanted to share with you guys is, well, first off, how wrong these numbers are. We're going to dive in much deeper into why. But two, the range of the answer you're going to get is like, how am I supposed to budget if I'm a homeowner and I just type in how much does kitchen remodels cost and I'm getting 15 to 160? Wow, gee, thanks. Like that was zero help. This episode of the Renovation Situation Podcast is brought to you by Plumb Financial, bookkeeping built for remodelers and contractors. We help you simplify your finances, stay organized, and make confident decisions for your business. Visit plumbfinancial.com to reclaim your time and get clarity in your numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. You made a comment. So let's get to this comment because I think it was buried in there. And if everyone was listening and heard,
Can't be responsible.
Todd said that the last kitchen remodel you did was well over 80,000. So that's what I wanted to pick up on because he got a range that his upper range was 80,000. His last kitchen was well more than 80,000. And I want to just touch on my high end was 160. And the last kitchen I did was well over 160. I haven't done a 160 kitchen since before COVID. And I'm sure you haven't done an 80,000 kitchen for probably the same amount of time. So these prices are ridiculous in my opinion. And so moral of the story, do not use Google's answers as a prediction of what your remodel is going to cost. So let's just start there, right? Like just throw that out the window. That's not even a good stuff. Like that doesn't even help. That just makes me angry. Like that's as if I'm a homeowner, I'm like, you negatively informed me.
Well, let's throw in the quick precursor there though too, right? There's you and I are fortunate enough to typically be working on higher end projects that are just going to be a little more costly because there's more everything. There's just more design involved. There's more professional people involved. There's more expensive materials involved. That first Google search of someone who's sitting on their couch who just is going to go buy, cheaper off the shelf type stuff, they'll find their kitchen remodel out here for $40,000. Someone's going to do that kitchen remodel. It's not going to be me, but someone's going to do it. you know, and they're going to find those Chinese cabinets and the cheaper counters and the knockoff type stuff, and they're going to get it done, and that's okay. And I don't mean to sound judgmental. It's just for us, it's not accurate. That's all.
Good point.
Yeah,
You're good point. If you're looking for a quick little refresh, where, let me define refresh, would be you're not replacing any cabinets. The cabinets are staying. Maybe you're doing countertops, and you're doing countertops with laminate countertops, which I don't know anybody who does laminate countertops anymore. If that's kind of, you would have to be in that, to be in those budget ranges. That's probably where you're landing, is you're looking for more of a refresh, minor remodel than major remodels, and where we're gutting everything. So that is what we do. So you're totally right. We're not doing refreshes. That's true. But in my defense, I'm using the higher end of these numbers, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
To represent what supposedly we are doing according to AI.
Yeah.
So in fair, true fashion, I use ChatGPT for quite a bit of stuff, and it's wrong a lot. So I constantly have to kind of, hey, by the way, I think what about this or what about that? And it always comes back, oh, you're right. And then it researches it more, searching web, and then it comes back with the right answer. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but I think we're still early in this AI stuff. Yeah. All right. That's a good jumping off point, I think.
Yeah.
Let's stay on this for a moment, because we're going to transition right into what's called a cost versus value report. We won't show it to you for copyright reasons. The National Home Builders Association puts it out. JLC, the Journal of Light Construction, they put that out as well. They put it out every year. It is free, so you people out there can go and look at it. And it is a bunch of horseshit as much as AI is. So take it for a grain of salt there. Every single contractor I've talked to that ever looked at this cost versus value report has said that those numbers aren't what they're charging. But maybe it's a jumping off point to think of these as your minimums. That's what I'm going to say about that. I did want to throw in the JLC though. Like JLC, that's a magazine worth buying, fellas. So, and ladies, if you're interested in anything construction related, I am not getting any money for saying this, by the way, but.
And what does JLC stand for?
I think JLC magazine is what?
What does JLC stand for?
Journal of Light Construction.
Just wanted to get that in there.
Yeah. I think it's a great magazine. It is a magazine. I'll go online, prescribe to it. I do. And I think it's great. So, especially when I was young and dumb, I learned a lot through that. And they also have a huge convention called JLC Live every year. You can go if you're in the industry. That's fun. Yeah, a lot of hands-on stuff there that you can learn. Anyway, back to the show. Kitchen and bath remodel. How much does it cost? This cost versus value report. I don't know, Ty. All right, I already shared what I think about it. What do you think about it?
I think it's bullshit. I think there's so many factors that's just that I don't know what criteria they use to get these percentages, but it's just the housing market changes. So depending on, are you realistically getting your home appraised and then doing this work and then getting your home appraised afterwards? I highly doubt anyone is doing that. I just feel like I don't know where you're going to get those actual numbers from. And I guess I could have done a little bit of a deep dive on that before I want to say it's complete bullshit, but it's just my gut instinct is that it's complete bullshit, right? It comes from a remodeling magazine. It comes from the idea that you want to keep these projects going. You want to be able to sell things to clients. So you want to walk in with that and say, hey, look, you're going to get 128% of your money back. If you could get 128% of your money back on a minor kitchen remodel, I would do nothing but minor kitchen remodels and have the happiest clients on the planet, because it didn't cost them anything. They just made money to remodel their kitchen. And I'm sorry, you're not going to make money remodeling your kitchen unless you're a bad flipper who's just cutting corners and buying crappy materials and then
Right.
Selling the house. That's the only way you're making money on your kitchen remodel, folks. Sorry. That's the reality of things.
So to catch everybody up, Todd's referring to the cost and value report. And on that report, it states, I wish I can show it to you, but they have copyright rules that tells us we can't show it. But you can go online and look for it. But it has minor kitchen remodel. And let me see, I'm looking at it right now. It's got major kitchen remodel upscale, bathroom remodel, same things, HVAC conversion, garage door replacement. It's got all kind of basement remodel, got all kinds of things on there, right? Categories, project type is what they call it. But if you look over into the columns, it's the job cost, what they perceive that is going to cost you, and then the resale value, right? After you did that work, how much is your house worth now because you've done that work? And then it gives you a percentage. And also, this is kind of cool, is this whole report is based off a region. So you can look at the region, and also you can nail down to the major city in that region as well. So it supposedly is more accurate based off regional. Every region I've ever worked in and looked at it's just too low. Sorry, it just is. But there you have it. Maybe what we could say is the value percentage, or at least the perceived value, might be accurate. That we don't know. And that's what Todd was touching base on, is, are you really getting a realtor to go out there and value your home after you did the project? Some people maybe, but most don't. And so how accurate is these numbers? We don't know. But I'm commenting on the cost.
Even if your realtor's giving you that number, unless your house actually sold for that number, it's just a number.
Right. Right. So who knows? But based off of the national averages, we're going to go off to the national averages for 2020. As we can't use 2025, it's not done with, guys. All right. So 2024, the biggest return on your buck is garage door replacement. So if you want to make some money on your remodel, replace the garage door at 267% return on your value. That's what this report is saying. The lowest, 18%? 18% is the lowest. Primary suite addition. So if you're going to put an addition on your house, you're only going to make 18% on that return on value. There's your ROI, fellas and people out there in the world.
If you say so. If you say so.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, whatever.
Sure.
Here's what I tell my clients. You will not make 100% ROI on anything, on any remodel project. I mean, I'm not doing garage door replacements, so, we can pull that out of my scope, but those days are over. Those were the 1990s. Remember those days? There was ROI on whatever you did. You just go cut your grass and your house is worth more money all of a sudden. The 90s were great.
Not so much anymore.
No, things are just way too expensive. So the true value comes when you live in your home for a little bit after the remodel. That's when it starts to pay off for you.
Yeah. Well, along those same lines, that's why we say those are the best clients these days. Like, for me, that's always an upfront question. Like, how long do you plan to stay in your home? Like, a client I have right now, they have no intentions of leaving their house ever. So, yeah, it's a nice kitchen remodel. It's a nice laundry room remodel. It's a living in place or aging in place powder room to full bathroom conversion. And it's because it's intentional and they want to use this space for years to come and they want to enjoy that space. That's the client we're after, right?
Right. Just compare this last segment that we just kind of went off on a tangent on this cost versus value report and all the AI pricing and all that. I'm just going to categorize that as like the HGTV pricing versus reality situation that we're placed in because of the, this information that we can get on the internet. It's just silly, ridiculous.
You don't think HGTV is accurate in everything that they do?
Todd, how dare you?
No?
How dare you say anything bad about
in a weekend?
Yeah.
22-minute episode? No?
Right. So we're going to just start off, now that we're half an hour in, that every kitchen is different. So it's really hard to put a price on anything. We can't just say that your kitchen remodel is going to be X because it's so different, right?
Yeah. Everything.
So let's go into this. Why is it so tricky to give pricing? Like, why can't you just tell me how much my kitchen's going to cost over the phone?
So I always compare this to the restaurant, to just dining out, right? So it's like, well, how expensive is it to go to this restaurant? Well, what are you ordering? Are you getting the hamburger, or are you getting the filet, or surf and serve? What are you getting? So to me, that's the genesis of all of this is what how much are you prepared to spend? Because what do you want this to look like? Do you want to buy quality custom cabinets, beautiful white oak custom cabinets? Or do you want to buy the Chinese stuff that came flat packed on a barge and someone just hot glued it and stapled it together in a warehouse, and you have three selections as to what your doors and finishes are going to look like? Same with countertops, same with anything along those lines. Do you want quality or do you want affordability? And I think most places, especially when it comes to cabinets, are always going to have kind of a good, better, best line. I say most, not all. Some are just going to stick with higher end. Some are going to want that lower threshold. But I think part of that is for that reason, they're going to say, okay, do you want to spend X? And we'll put you in this category, or this category. And that's like the illusion of option, right? It's like, here's your three options. When in reality, you have so many more options, but they're going to give you three because they don't want to overwhelm you with 15 different cabinet lines and you'll lose your marbles. So that's one thing. Another thing is just the home itself. Like, how old is your house? How extensive is this remodel going to be? Are we gutting everything? What are the existing conditions look like? If everything is outdated and out of code and everything else, you may have structural issues to contend with, updating electrical, updating insulation, you name it, right? Plumbing lines, everything. And sometimes that can be a snowball effect if it's an older home, where if you're fixing this, this leads to this, and okay, we have to fix this. There's just so many questions that go into this, so much upfront work that's why you're going to get, and obviously, like we said, Google was not even close on the higher end of that, but you're going to get such a giant window because there's just so many variables that go into this. So if someone calls and asks me, how much is a kitchen remodel cost? I give them that analogy of a restaurant and just say, if you're going out to eat, how much does that cost? And then that kind of puts that in perspective for them, like, oh, okay, I guess I get it. Hopefully.
Yeah, I like the going out to a restaurant. I also like using the car situation because I think a lot of people can relate to, are you going to go out and buy a Prius, or are you buying the new Porsche? Right. And there's pros and cons for both, but what are you after? And the car sometimes is hard because, there are inexpensive vehicles that do last a long time. Generally, you hit it on the head. It's quality versus budget-friendly options, right? And where I balk a lot at these pricings that you find online is that what they don't consider a lot of is labor cost is what runs majority of the pricing. Labor is very expensive. It's very hard to come by. And the more complicated the process is or the project is, the more important the skilled labor pool that your contractor has available is weighing on your project. Therefore, that price is going to go up even more because it's so hard to find skilled labor these days. Yeah. So the size of your project, the layout changes that Todd mentioned, the materials, the different kinds of appliances, another analogy on quality over quantity. Branding has a lot to do with it. Do you want a specific brand? What do you value, right? The labor market, that's going to speak volumes on how we're pricing your project. So that's tough. So that's why it's so tricky. And that's why we can't just give you a per square foot price. There are builders out there that can give you a per square foot price, but that's building a brand new home. It's a completely different process than remodel. And they're not offering you the sky as a variety. If you want to have a choice from the 25,000 different toilets that are out there,
Mm-hmm.
Todd and I are willing to show you the 25,000 different toilets and you get to choose from them. Point being is, we're more custom. I know there are custom builders out there. I'm not saying there isn't, but you're not going to get a square foot price from a remodeler. Not one that generally has been doing this for a while, because there's no way to tell how complicated that situation is going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What type of car do you want? Okay. So I think we touched on this a little bit. Wanted to touch on, like, what are some of the major drivers in the cost? I kind of touched on that a little bit, but I want to hear your point on it. What's driving the cost in a kitchen remodel generally?
God, I think it's everything. Like you said, skilled labor is going to drive that cost. Quality materials are going to drive that cost. Scope of work is going to drive that cost. And that all adds up. I mean, I was just in a home today, actually, just picking up a check from a kitchen remodel. And she said, this costs a lot more than I wanted it to. And I said, yeah, you're not the first person that told me that. Not that my price kept going up when we agreed to that. It was just when I first met her, we were actually just looking at doing trim work on the house. And it led to all new floors and an extensive kitchen remodel and everything else. And she said, this really costs a lot more than I wanted. And it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Like, are you happy with it? Very. Okay. Then as long as you're happy with it, then I'm good. That's not money that went into my pocket. That's you wanted wood mode cabinets. Those are not cheap cabinets. You wanted a certain countertop that had that leathered kind of texture to it. That was additional cost. Everything up. So I don't know that there's any one driver to me that sticks out more than another one. I think it's just it's everything. It's the whole process. It's all the people involved. It's just the whole scope. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to dive in and actually throw myself out there, because I keep track of this stuff pretty good. And for me, I have the way I do my estimating. I just pulled up my little estimator software that I created this software program myself over 15 years of doing this, and a little Excel geek, and I love it. And it has 21 different divisions. What are you laughing at me?
Okay. That you love the Excel spreadsheets.
Love it. So it's actually called it the Juggernaut. It's my Juggernaut estimating software. Anyways, every single time on a remodel project, usually even if it's a kitchen remodel or a whole house remodel, what's usually most expensive is the cabinets. Cabinets are a huge number for us, but we're doing custom cabinets. Now we're not doing the flat pack, Chinese cabinets. So we're doing custom cabinets. So that's a big driver for us. And then also what hits us the most is countertops, plumbing, and electric. Often the plumbing is usually flipping and flopping versus number 1 and number 2. Number 2 and number 3 with countertops. And so it's usually always cabinets, plumbing, countertops, and electric. Those are usually the top 4. And a lot of times that's it. If you want to move the needle on the project, it's going to be one of those 4 things. Taking out a couple mirrors and replacing them with a cheaper mirror, or some of the finishes, even some of the tile won't move the needle a whole lot. If you want to go from, a 10 square foot tile to an 8 square foot tile, that's probably not going to change or move the needle a whole lot on your overall pricing. It's the labor there is there, and that's what's driving the price for the tile division, right? On the estimate. So, you're not going to move the needle. Right. So if you really want to move the needle on these things, countertops, that generally, let's get you out of marble and get you into something a little bit more cost effective. Those kinds of things can help a lot. And it's sometimes, Todd, you were mentioning the good, better hierarchy of cabinets. Sometimes you can come down to a lower or change cabinet makers if need be. It just depends on where you put your value in. But those are kind of the biggest ones for us. Labor market is there's no changing that. It costs what it costs, and this is our labor, and this is it. Right. So cabinets, appliance, you know, I'm not even going to touch appliances. They're all over the board. Yeah. It's whatever, you know.
It can get crazy expensive too.
They're
For sure.
all over the board. Yeah.
Yes.
So
some people have to have their
yeah.
Sub-Zero fridge. If you have to have your
Some
Sub-Zero
people
fridge,
do. Yeah.
with your
I've
integrated
been getting
panels and
yeah.
okay.
Been getting a lot of those fancy ranges that are just outrageous, which but they're like the retro looking ones. They are so cool looking. But yeah, I mean, they're expensive. So I think hopefully that answered that question, even if that was a question, but that thought process of what's really the major drivers for your kitchen remodel. Hopefully that helps. And again, another reason, as you can see, why we can't just tell you how much your kitchen remodel is going to cost, because we have no idea what countertops you're purchasing. And even if you just tell us we want granite countertops, well, granite comes in like 5 different categories. And those those prices change dramatically. So it's really tough. That's why we have design process and all that to figure out all these. And then I think the last thing that I wanted to touch on out of those 4 categories, well, adding to those 4 categories is what changes on the layout is happening. That's a big driver of cost. If we come into a kitchen remodel and you want to move the sink from one side of the room to the other side of the room, and you're moving your refrigerator from here to over there, that infrastructure all needs to be changed now, and access to all that and moving all that, that adds a lot to the price. So I think to add a 5th element to my top needle movers on cost drivers would be the layout change. Yeah. Would you agree with all that?
Yeah, layout's always huge. Like you said, if you're moving your sink, you're moving all that. You're moving your drain, you're moving your vent, you're moving your water lines. It's extensive.
What do you think about the 4 top categories?
Cabinets are definitely they're always going to be. It's a kitchen. Cabinets are always going to be I shouldn't say always, but unless you're going the really cheap cabinet route and for some reason want to put really expensive counters on really cheap cabinets, which I have seen done. I don't understand it, but some people put no value on cabinets. They just think white shaker cabinets are white shaker cabinets, and they are not equally made.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say that's accurate.
Good. All right. Okay. We kind of touched on the report. We touched on why pricing is so tricky. We touched on some of the major cost drivers. Hopefully that helped. What else should we say?
Maybe where do you start? If Google's not the best place to start in terms of how much this should cost you, what questions should these potential kitchen remodelers be asking? Kitchen remodeling clients, I should say. Yeah. Where should they start? Do you start with your local contractors? Do you start with your local kitchen and bath shop? Do you start with an interior designer? Do you start with an architect? There's a few different avenues, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Do you have an opinion on where to start?
Yes, I always have an opinion.
That's the freaking truth. That's the truth.
I think if you are looking to remodel your kitchen, I think the first place to start is to find a contractor that you trust and want to work with. That's your first go-to, is do your research, hunt down a contractor. You don't know about price yet. Really what you're trying to find is one that you feel like is a decent human being, one that's going to be honest and help you walk through this process of a kitchen remodel. That's what I think you should be doing, is looking for that contractor. Now, you can do that in a multiple of different ways. You can do your own research online. You could look at reviews. You could ask your neighbors. You can ask your friends. Depending on whether you already have a designer or you know a designer, you could be looking for your designer as well. If you're going to use a designer, your designer may have connections with a decent contractor, and you can then use her references as well for contractors and try to find that. You could also go to local associations and look for your contractor there. If you're in the Midwest area, or actually if you're anywhere in the nation, you could look up nari.org and look at the National Association of the Remodelers Industry. And if you're in the Pacific Northwest here, you can look up Master Builders Association, MBACS, and MBAKS, and look for a contractor through there. That's probably where I would start, because I don't know what I don't know as a homeowner. I don't buy kitchens and bathrooms every day. How am I supposed to know what a kitchen is going to cost me?
Sure.
So I have no idea. Really, all that's important right now is finding a contractor that I know and trust, because we're going to be in bed for a long time through this process. I need to know it's somebody that we can work through hard times together. And that as far as pricing is concerned, all you need to know right now is that you're on the dance floor. That's it. You just need to know. And the contractor can help you with ballparking the idea of where your budget is and whether you're on the dance floor or not.
Yeah.
And whether you see the value of getting on the dance floor if you're not. Because 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to have sticker shock. Because you don't buy kitchens and bathrooms every day, you're probably going to have sticker shock. Todd and I have sticker shock every day, and we're in the business. Things are ridiculous. I just had a conversation with my next project that's coming up, which is a master bathroom remodel. I just had a conversation today with the homeowners about how expensive things are getting. Yeah. So it's crazy out there. Things are getting expensive. So we just have to be open and honest. So that's where I think I would start as hopefully I was kind of just rattling on and on. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, but I think you touched on a key thing there, which is just to provide some sort of realistic ballpark, right? So I think no matter what avenue you go down, whether it's the contractor, and I think most times if you've already done work previously on your house and you have a good relationship with a contractor, that's probably going to be your first stop, because you already know, trust, and like them. So hopefully like them too. But it's probably going to be your first go-to. And they should be able to provide you with a decent estimate just based on previous projects that they've done. That would be similar scope of work, similar type of house, whatever it might be. And a good quality interior designer and a good kitchen and bath shop should be able to do the same thing. Yeah, you know what? We just did this project 6 months ago. It was about this much money. It was similar size project, similar scope of work. So at least they're giving you a realistic jumping off point. And after they calm down from the initial sticker shock of that, if they still want to have that conversation, then you get into whatever your typical, MO is for how you want to handle that. But I think that's the better route to go. I mean, stay off the internet, just find some, and maybe you're going to go to the internet to find credible professionals, but find some credible professionals in your area that have done these projects. That's where you're going to get your answers,
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up ballparking, and I think that's I've been through a lot of classes, sales classes about this stuff, and they tell you not to ballpark. And I'm sorry, but I want to give my clients as much information as possible, and I don't have a problem with ballparking. However, I will reiterate to them that I don't know how much this is going to cost, but in my experience, you're probably needing to be in this dance floor. And if you just can't get there, then we might not be the best fit for you. And that's that. And that happens on, probably the second time we meet. We're going to go over budget. We're going to see what your expectation is. We're going to talk about my expectation, which is the ballpark. And then we're going to talk about how we can get there together. And we're going to collaborate, and we're going to talk about those 4 or 5 different things that we talked about earlier about moving the needle. We're going to talk about those expectations now. What are you thinking about? Right? Because those are what's going to get you on the dance floor or off the dance floor. Right. But I don't know how much this is going to cost. So we need to go through this process and find out. But this is probably where we're going to be, or at least this is where we're going to be close. Right. And let's just make sure we're all working to stay within that range or whatever the budget is or whatever the conversation is. But we're going to have that early, because I'm not going to charge you for a design retainer and steal your money knowing that you can't afford it or you're way off the dance floor to get. That's just shady.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. That's why I'm willing to put myself out there a little bit to give ballparks, but I have to reiterate that it's just my best guess. And that's all anyone is doing right at the moment without knowing all of those other things.
No one's making any promises. You're just having an honest conversation about what this potentially looks like. That's it. And it's just, to me, it's just a means of qualifying them as a client and just putting a little bit of reality into this. Like, can you afford this? Do you want to spend this much money on this? This is most likely what this is going to look like, you know? And that's, I you know me, I'm not a big go sales classes kind of person and whatever. I don't like coming across as a used car salesman or having these tactics that sometimes just seem manipulative. I lay it out there and that's it. It's the best sales is listening and honesty. If you ask me, it's just the best sales there is. So
100%. Yep. 100%. I did want to touch on one more thing. And when, or if you're ever going to get into a situation where you're comparing, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. It's really hard for homeowners to compare trade partners or general contractors or whatever from one to the other. It's really tough because a lot of times there's a huge amount of assumptions that the contractors will make on the homeowner's behalf that may or may not be in the written estimate or quote or whatever it is that they're being provided, if anything. And so it's hard to compare. Why I put so much emphasis on finding that contractor first and making sure that you trust and you know that they're a decent human being is because of that. You need to know what's in that quote. You need to know what how that's being valued. Is he putting, to wrap this up in an example?
Earmarked.
Go ahead.
Just earmarked. So this is, you have X number of dollars allocated towards this, and whether that's an allowance or some sort of budget or some sort of window or whatever it is. But yeah.
Oh, you mean a lot? Yeah, you could do that, right? But I'm talking more of how are they building things, right? Just because they're saying, are they waterproofing the shower? Are they not waterproofing the shower? What are they using to waterproof the shower? Those types of things are a huge difference. And then it's the general contractor and what are they bringing to the table as well? If they work like us and we're bringing a team of trade partners with us, there's a huge amount of value built in that costs money. There's a premium to pay that homeowners are paying for that. When you compare something that you and I do versus Chuck with a truck out there who's going to pull up and do all the work himself, and he's just going to pound it out, and he's going to go to Home Depot, grab everything he's got, and and that's it. And you got a kitchen in 2 weeks. That's a totally different project. So when you're comparing, make sure you understand the value that's being brought to the table. And hopefully the contractor can educate you on those differences. And then you get to make your own choice on whether that's value to you or not. Mm-hmm. It's not for everybody. I don't know. Hopefully clear as mud. Right?
Yep. I like it.
All right. What are the takeaways?
Kitchens are expensive, but do it anyway, because I like remodeling kitchens. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Takeaways. I think that it's important to find your contractor first or designer first. Either way is okay, but you really want to bring in that contractor sooner rather than later so we can start talking about costs often and early. And then another takeaway would be the things that drive costs. No one is going to know what your kitchen costs after an hour of them showing up at your house, doing some measurements, and they walk away and then they email you a quote. That is not accurate. That cannot be accurate. He knows it can't be accurate.
Yeah.
The only way that it could be a legitimate quote is if there's 100 allowances in there, which then that's not even a fixed cost. Then we're talking about like more of a cost plus situation. Go check out another video that we did about cost plus versus fixed costs versus T&M.
We've been
To reiterate that takeaway, I think it's really important to know that the cost drivers, right? That is countertops, cabinets, plumbing, and the plumber and the electric and all the plumbing fixtures, all those two, and moving. Like, what's the scope? Are we moving? What's the layout? Are we moving things or are we not moving things? Those are big key drivers of cost. Yeah. I think those are pretty good takeaways.
Great.
Hopefully this was helpful. Yeah. Your dream kitchen is possible. It just may not look like the $10,000 HGTV project. Okay. Hopefully that was clear as mud. Cheers.